Snuff Magee and friends.
Snuff Magee and Friends, Irrelevance in the Dungeon, episode 52. I am Snuff Magee, joined by...
You already know it's your boy Kel.
Lindsay.
And Amy in the 8.
This is a special Zoom podcast going on. With the COVID restrictions going on, we like to do a lot of things in the dungeon, but if it can't be done in the dungeon, we're still going to do the episode. We're joined today by Amy Wentz. She's running in the 8th District in RVA.
You there?
How are you doing?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much for having me.
And we're joined also by political correspondent, Lindsey Dougherty. Making your, is it third appearance?
Third, I think.
Yeah, third appearance, yeah. She's a regular. She's about to get taken.
You already know.
But Amy, you've been an RVA native for 35 years now. You're running in the 8th District. And I want to ask you, what is the 8th District? What does that include? What area?
Yeah, sure. Thank you so much. Like I said, thank you for having me. I am running to be the 8th District representative on Richmond City Council. The 8th District comprises of what I refer to as the Route 1 corridor. Others may refer to it as JD. But all the way from Walmsley Boulevard all the way down till you get to the Hull Street. And then if you hang a left on Hull and go up to Southside Plaza, we are everything towards your left. And so we also have neighborhoods off of Broad Rock Boulevard, near McGuire Hospital, and then off of Walmsley. And so geographically, we are the largest district in the city, nestled here south of Richmond.
Okay. And JD, that's Jefferson Davis. Yeah.
That is.
Kel, he's from the north side, so I just wanted, we want a little clarity going on for that. But yes, hopefully we won't be saying JD too much longer. But that's Snuff Magee. I don't say for everybody else. It is what it is. But also, Amy, you co-founded the Richmond Black Restaurant Experience, and it's celebrating its 4th year. Me and Kel, we love to eat. So
More than anything.
We really want to thank you for that.
God bless you. God bless you.
Are there any new Black restaurants in Richmond that you've checked out that you want to tell us about?
Yeah, well, first of all, let me just say that, Richmond Black Restaurant Experience came about because there was an amazing national coverage of our restaurant scene here in Richmond. And so we were getting major coverage from tourism magazines and, all over, talking about our restaurant scene. And so what we noticed that was noticeably missing was the soul of Richmond's, food scene. And that is our amazing Black-owned restaurants. And so we came together, Kelly Lemon, shout out to Kelly, shout out to Mimi. Me and I got together to create Richmond Black Restaurant Experience because it was something that was necessary. We wanted to make sure that we just add our restaurants to the diverse group of restaurants that are providing dope experiences for people from all over. And so definitely checking out the reopening of Southern Kitchen. She just had a grand opening. And I mean, they have done their best to make sure that their restaurant, has the partitions in it, and they have the black gloves. They're giving you the whole treatment. So definitely want to shout her out. And then right here on the corridor where I am, LBJ's and Traditions Soul Food on Route 1. It's just an amazing restaurant. They're an amazing experience. So check them out as well. That's the closest one to you all too.
Okay.
I got right over there. I'm going to have to slide through.
I've been to Traditions, the smokehouse.
Okay.
I've been there. They're pretty good.
The smokehouse. So this is LBJ's, which is their soul food portion, of the chain. So come and check them out.
Okay. We love to eat. We will definitely check it out.
That's gonna be a lunch break, definitely.
Now I've seen, I got stats, man.
Okay.
I got stats. So 25,000 food lovers, 35 Black-owned restaurants, and you've driven nearly $500,000 into the local economy.
That's right. So guess what? In or out of the seat, impact will be made. I keep telling people, in or out of the seat, impact will be made. So, regardless of what happens politically, we are ensuring that we are going to enhance the quality of life for people in Richmond. And so that's our goal. And we'll keep, that's what I'm going to continue to do.
Okay. Now, tell us about Visit Black RVA.
Yes. Okay. So back about 10 years ago, I created what was called Black RVA. And Black RVA was just a hub for Richmonders to be able to know what was out there when it comes to goods and services provided by Black-owned businesses. And so we started a directory, and we started posting events and cultural experiences, just dope stuff that was happening in and around. And you all, excuse me, my campaign office is a community office. So every once in a while we have community that comes in and out. So you'll hear some things, but it's all good. But yeah, we knew that there was a need. It's almost like basically the online version of Black Pages, if you remember the Black Pages. And so Richmond Region Tourism created, the community created a kind of just like a council of people who really wanted to see some tourism initiatives that were all about uplifting Black faces, places, and spaces in Richmond. And so Black RVA, Visit Black RVA was formed. And so if you're familiar, I don't know if you all are familiar with Blocal, but Blocal is an app. Huh?
Got that on my phone right now.
Same.
Yeah, so Blocal is a new app that shows, that actually that you can list your Black-owned businesses with. So when we transitioned to Visit Black RVA, I was able to sit down with the Blocal founder, and she was able to take over Black RVA. And so it was just like this trifecta of great, amazing Black excellence that happened. And so now we have tourism covered when it comes to uplifting our stuff. We have the restaurant scene covered, and then Blocal has picked it up with just giving us nationwide access to all things Black-owned business.
That's what's up. I mean, you've been pretty busy in RVA.
Sounds like it.
You got a lot going on.
Listen, the goal is enhancing the quality of life for our people, and that's the goal. That takes a lot.
No doubt. I got another one, Kel. I got a lot of stats, man. A lot of stats.
All right,
So,
skip what you got. Skip.
Recently you've been named the 2020 Richmond History Maker by Valentine Museum for your dedicated and sustainable service to the city of Richmond. So tell us about that.
Yeah, so they actually honored all the action team members for Visit BLK RVA. And so it was myself, Anjali Moon, Free Egumfemi, and Josh Epperson. And so we were awarded that because at the end of the day, we are the first in the Commonwealth, okay, to have a tourism initiative. So each region have their own like tourism offices, right, that promote tourism. But we are the first to actually have a dedicated platform specific to that. And so so that we made history in that. And I think we're only second in the nation, because I think Philly and we were right after Philly. Philly did one first, but definitely proud of that work because especially now with the Confederate monuments and some of those odes to the Confederate history no longer being a part of the story here in Richmond, we need tourism to, tourists to be able to enjoy other things, and what better than Black culture?
No doubt.
Definitely.
And you know how we feel about the Confederate monuments. We said we'll keep it clean for this episode,
Yeah.
so we're going to keep it clean. But you can watch our previous
You can
episodes.
definitely go back and hear some hot takes.
Yeah, it's not going to be PG quality, but yeah, you're going
Not
to
even PG-13.
maybe TV
17?
14. I mean, because they show a lot of stuff on TV nowadays. But with all that being said, what are your visions for the 8th District?
Yes, thank you for asking. Okay, so my vision for the 8th District is that all people, okay, when I say all people, I'm not just talking about voters, I'm saying all people, because we have a very inclusive district here. From our youngest resident to our most seasoned community member is thriving, is happy, and has equitable access to city resources and services. And so I really want to see our neighbors growing. I want to see our neighborhoods healthy and safe for all of our members. And at the end of the day, after 4 years under my leadership, I want every member of my district to be able to say my quality of life was enhanced under her leadership in some form or fashion. And so that is my vision. I want to see our corridors budding with economic support. And it's time, y'all. It's time. I mean, I don't know if you've written down here lately, but it's time for a change.
Agreed.
No doubt. with Richmond, I realized, you know, a few months ago there was a Navy Hill project. I'm sure that's not part of the district, the 8th district, but that would have been a part of the city.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that would have been a lot of money for the city.
Mm-hmm.
Were you a fan of that project, or?
So, okay, so personally, I was in favor of, so this is typically what happens in other areas. Richmond, I don't know, we just need to get on board with doing this more often, but putting a referendum on the ballot that allows residents to vote on it, you know, because we always have all this fighting outside, but if you just put it to a vote and let the people vote on it, then, you know, we can handle it that way. So I'm generally in favor of a referendum on the ballot where people and residents get to vote on the plan. There were aspects of the plan that generally I agreed with, and those were like the amount of minority business inclusion. I don't think I've ever seen a deal, probably on the Eastern Seaboard, maybe in New York, that had that much minority business inclusion in the deal, and so I really like that. But how do you fund it, right? We were going to fund that that plan with what's called tax increment financing, which it all sounds good. They no recourse bonds, and everybody thinks that, okay, that the citizens aren't going to be on the hook. But in a time like this, with I'll just, you know, the leadership that we have at the national level, it's just really scary to try to put your eggs in certain baskets where you're not really sure to get a return on the investment. Okay, so I understood why the public wasn't too fond of that. And initially, you know, some things kind of changed throughout the process along the way too, that kind of gave people pause. So I also am really in favor of like people-powered initiatives, you know, and so important to me that community gets to decide what happens in their community. And so the more voices at the table, you know, of course, I'm all for inclusion and engagement.
I know it was pre-COVID-19 that these things were talked about, and being that the city of Richmond don't have an arena to bring artists, to bring your basketball, because you see with Baltimore, they're going to start getting the CIAA, I want to say next year.
Mm-hmm.
With the minorities, they want to have businesses set up for them, but also I heard with the development of that area, there's going to employ a lot of minorities as well and send them to school for, you know, to learn to do what they were doing.
Yeah. So this is the thing about that, because thinking about it like that, you think like, oh, okay, yeah, why, you know, this is, you have to understand that there are a lot of areas in our city that have been neglected for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And so if the city is going to implement tax increment financing or these you know, these certain financing structures on things, I guess people are just like, we've had, you know, our buildings, our public schools, our libraries, you know, all of these things are just not really you know, they're not really adequate for learning for our students and things like that. So it's like, I guess people just had a hard time kind of wrapping their hands around the fact that our priorities would be focused on that instead of really what's at hand. And I think that that's probably where a lot of folks kind of split. The revenue generating aspect, of course, people want the city to have some new revenue coming in. There was supposed to be some office buildings and some other things that were attached to that, as well as housing. So of course, you know, but Richmond is, you know, we're growing, we're booming in certain areas. There's certain industries that we haven't really quite taken advantage of yet that we could. I really think that the growth that was going to come with the Navy Hill deal will still come, and in maybe less of at an expense to taxpayers, if that makes sense.
Okay. Like hopefully the world will open back up soon. I know if it was approved right now, it's no telling with capacity wise.
Yeah.
How many people?
Yes. When will we be able to even
those things?
Right.
Now, I hate to bring this subject up, but it is what it is. It's been a lot of murders going on in the city within the last month and a half.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if is it gang activity? Is it beef amongst the neighborhoods? What have you been hearing going on out there?
I mean, let's just be honest of what it is. We all know where, you know, where crime comes from. It comes from lack of economic investment in certain areas, and you know, and conditions that don't help to increase opportunities for impoverished people. And so we know that people begin to create their own economies, and they start taking matters into their own hands when it comes to being able to take care of themselves and their families. And so when we dance around and, it might be the gangs, that ultimately it comes down to the city needs to work on our anti-poverty initiatives. There was an anti-poverty commission that was formed years ago that had a whole 2 pages full of action items and things that the city could do to help mitigate poverty, and they weren't implemented. And so at the end of the day, if we keep on trying to fix things after the fact, we're going to be in the same place. So things that I'm advocating for, like I said, people-powered advocacy, the people who are on the ground doing work already, they know what the needs are, instead of us, trying to, implement things outside of that. And then also opportunity, it's like we need to fund better opportunities for our young people. If not, and our young adults, if not, they're going to do crime. It's not rocket science. So we have to put money towards root causes instead of trying to fix it after the fact.
I love that answer.
No doubt.
I
You see, back in the day, Kel, like the Seattle Supersonics, they had Gary Payton and Sean Kemp. And what I just did was I threw an alley-oop.
Oh, I'm familiar.
I threw an alley-oop, and she pretty much,
oh, yeah.
she brought the...
In my time, it would be a Chris Paul, Blake Griffin.
Kind of, sort of.
It's the
I mean, Blake wasn't the Rain Man, but, you get what I'm talking about.
DeAndre Jordan?
Maybe that one dunk. I'm sorry.
That one dunk. Yeah.
Moving on. I got this one thing I was going to bring up that I was reading on your website.
No worries.
Educational opportunities and access, they're a priority for you. In neighborhoods around Hall Street and Route 1 corridors, 1/3 to over half of Richmonders over 25 do not have a high school diploma, ultimately limiting job opportunities and higher paying jobs. Now, with that area, is that predominantly the Latino community along the Route 1 area, or is that?
It's both. It's us too. So it's a Black and Brown community. I would say, maybe 65% Black, and the rest are Latinx brothers and sisters in our immigrant communities. But yes, that is, originally you were just talking about though, what was the original question? What was the original, education, opportunity. Okay, got it, back there. Okay, so this is the thing. We talk about education and our students, especially right now during virtual learning, and all of these things are being exposed. But the biggest thing that can help strengthen our young people, right, in the household is having to be able to strengthen the adults, okay? Like, they're the ones outside of their teacher that are gonna be influencing them the most. And so one of the things that I'm really, concerned about here in Richmond is because of the annexation, okay, when they annexed Chesterfield and annexed parts of, what happened was most of the core services were on the north side, and that's what's happened historically. It's remained that way. So you have your adult learning center, your technical center, and your vocational center all housed north of the river. If you look at the percentages of the amount of people along this corridor or anywhere else in the south side that participate in them, your participation rate is going to be very low. And so when I say increase educational opportunities, I mean, there's got to be a way that they can do especially with what we're doing now with Zoom and everything, that they can offer satellite locations at some of our community centers so that you don't have to go all the way to the south, to the north side, or create there's some talks from the city to be able to acquire some area over here to be able to have a south side center. And I just want to make sure that we're increasing our access to those programs. Same with bilingual programs. We really need to get some adult educational opportunities increase in this area specifically, because we are at the highest, like you just read, the statistics are just alarming over here. So I'm talking about strengthening adults so that we can ultimately strengthen our students. And I'm staying out of school board business. School board is who deals with RPS, but as far as adult learning opportunities, I feel like that is something that from council that I can advocate for and work towards.
No doubt. Now, also in the South Side area, you have a Rosie's casino out there. I've heard that they're putting a casino out there at in the Manchester area. I want to say it, but with that revenue, is that money going to education like they say the Virginia Lottery does?
So okay, so a while back, I was doing some research about the Virginia Lottery money because I just didn't understand it myself. And what I found was over time, because the Virginia Lottery money does go towards education, but what's happened at the General Assembly level is that, you know how if it's like the initial year was like a surplus, like, wow, we get all this money. But every year it's just a little bit more gets taken off the back end. So you still getting that up here, but you're not getting the same amount that you were getting from other sources, if that makes sense. So it's like, that's what's happened over time. The casino. So what happened at the General Assembly is this General Assembly allowed certain localities, certain cities to be able to hold a license to have a casino. And it's like us, I think Norfolk, Bristol, somewhere in Northern Virginia, and there's one other place. Can't remember the other place. But anyway, so those localities got the ability to house a casino. What we have to decide as Richmond is who is going to be the person that holds that license. So I think now the running is probably between, the Pamunkey tribe wants to build one. I think Rosie's wants to build one. There's another group called Urban One with Kathy Hughes, up there.
I know that they wanted to put one in New Kent. I heard a while ago they wanted to put.
Yeah,
they had the Roses there now, but they wanted to put a bigger one out there. Then I heard Norfolk.
Yeah.
And recently I've heard Richmond in the Manchester area, they want to put a nice.
So that's what I'm saying. It hasn't been determined who's going to get that. Like, so if if the Pamunkeys get it, they have scouted a location here off of Commerce, and on the south side of Richmond. If whoever submitted that proposal for Manchester gets it, then they would, they're all going to be pitching there where they want to have it, how they want to do it. And the revenue that comes, how they want that to be spent. No, they don't get to decide that, but that's going to be part of the conversation. I think it just makes sense that it should definitely go to schools. Schools, making sure that our school buildings are up to par. Like I said, we had a lot of issues with that.
Yeah.
And,
I know that Rosie's they've been making a lot of money out.
They're making some money. I drive past all the time.
Have y'all been to Rosie's? Have any of y'all been?
Yeah,
I went to the one in New Kent. I
went to the one in Midlothian.
They say you can't win if you don't play. And I played, and I didn't have a good time in New Kent.
I didn't have a good time with Midlothian.
So listen, I won't lie. I've been a few times, and it's just something to do. I think people look at it just as an entertainment for the entertainment aspect. Like if I would have been going out to the movies and hanging out with my friends and, having a couple cocktails, I probably would have spent a certain amount. If you go in there and spend it, initially when they first rolled out the numbers, they were saying the average amount spent by a person, they had a number and it was really low because I would have been very, it would have been a problem if it would have been higher. So when I heard that, I was like, okay, so people aren't like, when you think about casinos, you're like, oh, they're going to go in there and like gamble away their rent and things like that, which are serious issues that, that we want to make sure that we're looking out for. But from what I've seen, that hasn't been the case.
Yeah, going there with about $40.
The type of games we have, thankfully, aren't like the biggest money of games either. So I think that helps.
Yeah, and it's like off-brand slots. It's not really like, quick hits.
Yeah.
None of that stuff is there.
No, yeah. And we don't need, we'll see. I don't know how it's going to work with the this casino business, but at the end of the day, the General Assembly, created the ability for them to be able to operate. And so,
Put some tables up in there. Look at all that money Maryland's killing them.
Come on, man.
Put some tables up in there, man.
What, Maryland, like the MGM?
Yeah. Or Maryland Live. I like Maryland Live better than MGM.
I ain't never been
But
to
what about the residual effects of gambling in our communities? Like the negative impact.
ABC stores. What about the residual effects of that?
Yeah, that's true too. Yeah, I'm just saying.
Let's keep this packed.
But those are the things that we have to be thinking about, in council seats. We want to make sure that we're not having to, deal with a residual negative impact decision that we make. So it's just good to, from the beginning, kind of think about those things and walk through them so that way you're not, you're a step ahead instead of be reacting.
I will say this though. You go to the casino, it's mostly older people spending their retirement money.
Busting that change purse wide open.
Waiting for me to leave because they know they're about to hit. They be waiting for you to leave. They know a hot one.
They count the cars, they count your swag.
Yeah.
Pull that thing.
Well,
I know.
and that's why I said if it's people are going there and it's entertainment and they're enjoying themselves. I mean, who am I to stop somebody from a grown person from going in there and doing what they want to do? And who am I to stop somebody from winning? Because like you said, you can't win if you don't play.
You win if you don't play. But before we wrap up, with you running for the 8th district, going door to door, how's that experience been for you? And how's the feedback been so far in the community?
Yes. Okay. So, all right. First of all, y'all, I am not all the work that I have done in the community, and then around the community has always been behind the scenes. I'm a behind the scenes girl. I'm a mover and a shaker. I don't want to be in front of somebody's camera or trying to be, it's been, that part has been hard to adjust to because I'm coming from behind the scenes to being in somebody's face all the time. And so it's been interesting to do that. But I will say, when I first started calling and knocking on doors, I first started calling because we didn't knock on doors. We first started, it was during the pandemic. And we would call. And my first question was, do you know about the November 3rd election coming up for city council? We know it's a historic presidential election, but city council local elections are important. And I would say the second question was, have you heard of me, Amy Wentz? And almost every call, they used to be like, no, I don't know you. No. So I was having to introduce myself to people. Now, when I make calls, I make about 100 a day. I call and people are excited to talk to me. They were like, I'm so excited that you called. I'm about to tell my neighbor that Amy Wentz, the candidate, called me. So I will say this, it is great to have been doing great work in this community for so long that people have become my surrogates and they are telling the stories. And so my name is running through these communities and I'm so grateful and thankful for it. I am better for this whole process. I'm win or lose, whatever happens. Now, we're going to win, but I'm just saying.
Come on, talk that stuff.
Talk your talk.
Stuff.
Well, impact will be made in or out of the sea, and that's the beauty in this. We have just Southside Relief, which is an organization I'm a part of, just got a grant to plant trees. I mean, we have heat-related illnesses out here, and so it's like no matter what, we're working towards that goal of enhancing the quality of life for our people. So I'm thankful for the process, and like I said, it's the hardest thing I've ever done, but once it's done, I'm gonna be better for it.
No doubt. We want to. I want to shout out Anisha Carter. She told me about you. She said, you need to interview Amy or holler at Amy. And I hit you up in the inbox. You probably thought I was some thirsty brother or whatnot, but
No, not at all. No, my inbox is be dry. Okay, so.
And I'm glad to make it happen. With the Zoom.
Yeah.
After you win, I just want you to come to the dungeon.
Oh yeah,
that's what we want.
Oh, listen, I'll come to the dungeon. I made a mistake and didn't come, and that was my bad. That's why you have campaign managers, and when you try to do things through an inbox, see, I should have told my campaign manager, so she would have had me all straight. But I will be to the dungeon, and we'll have a good time.
Well, let's keep it real. See, the thing about it is, Amy's in Richmond, and when you tell people that you're in Petersburg, it's something about Petersburg that people just don't want to come to Petersburg. So I was like, I got a studio in Petersburg. Well, just go ahead and send me that Zoom invite. And
don't feel bad, Amy. As he said, I'm from Northside, and I have to come out here every week to do this.
Yeah. So it's not that, because I would love to come, because y'all have a sushi place over there, Wasabi, that I love. Is it still there? Hopefully.
Yeah, Wasabi's still out there.
And so, it's not that. It's just that, I have been doing a lot of these podcasts, and I haven't gone on site for any of them. So I didn't realize that people were starting to.
Yeah, we kicked up, I want to say a couple of weeks ago. Yeah. Of course, I sanitize it down here, and I make sure that,
Yeah, no, it's all good. That wasn't a concern. I didn't read the whole thing, and I should have. My bad.
Like I said, when you win, we're going to have you in the dungeon. A little celebration down here. We're gonna have some spring water.
You know it, yeah. Sparkling cider.
Yeah, some Martinelli's apple juice. You know how we do.
We really will have that. We really will have it. It'll be greater later.
Before we enter Irrelevance in the Dungeon, I want Lindsey to talk about a few things. When she came down here today, she told me about the census, and she was talking about with the city of Petersburg. So can you elaborate on that?
Yeah, so I know people are tired of hearing about it, but we only have a few more days. The last date is September 30th for people to fill out the census. And so Virginia, the Commonwealth has a website you can go on and see kind of how everybody is doing per locality in turning theirs in. And Petersburg is one of the lowest in Central Virginia for returns on it. And so just to throw out some numbers to people, the Commonwealth and each locality gets federal dollars for different things like our highways and social services and schools and healthcare. And so the census is how the federal government decides who gets what money. And so it's $2,000 per person per year that is lost if a person is not counted. And so $20,000 per person over the 10-year period of time that the census numbers are usually used. And so I looked it up, and Petersburg has an estimated around 31,000 people in the city. And if only half of those people, which is what has happened so far, filled out the census, you take 15,000 roughly people times $20,000 over the 10-year period of time, and Petersburg is going to lose out on $310 million over a 10-year period of time. And so, you can look. Yeah, you can look at, Richmond, you can look at Chesterfield County, you can look at Hopewell and see how everybody's doing. And it's just really important. It's not necessarily that, they're going to take money away. It's just that once they do this formula recalibration after this 10-year period of time that happens next year, Petersburg will lose out on education dollars and highway dollars and SNAP dollars and Medicaid dollars. And it's just, vital to the community. So, talking about, making sure that communities have what they need, and that always comes down to money, that you fill out your census. So go to 2020census.gov. It takes 5 minutes, and I'm not kidding, just to fill out who lives at your residence. And I think they asked a couple of other demographic questions that you don't have to fill out if you don't want to, but it's really important to make sure that your cities and your counties are getting the dollars that they deserve. Otherwise, they're going to go to other states and other localities, and that's the part that sucks about it. So go in, spend 5 minutes, fill out your census, get it done.
I will say that I wasn't taking the census serious, and I know it's every 10 years, right?
Every 10 years.
Yeah. And I don't recall doing it.
So this is the thing I look at like this. So I don't know about you, but where I was raised, they always the census had a negative connotation anyway.
Yeah.
It was one of those things where they say, they're trying to track you, they do all that stuff. Mm-hmm. Once I actually took in the information, I started to look at it. Well, maybe the people who were telling us that so that our communities won't get those funds.
Right. That's
why for the first time I actually did do mine, because we see what not doing it has done for our community. Mm-hmm. So, it's insanity to do the same thing and expect different results. So
5 minutes. 5 minutes of your time.
I don't even think it took me 5 minutes, honestly.
Yeah, it's just quick. You go in and put in, it's just these little boxes, and you just go in and fill out the boxes for the number of people that live in your house. You hit submit and you're done. You can do it online. You can, ask for a written, paper to be sent, but given that the deadline's coming up so close, just go ahead and go online and do it. It'll bring in tons of money for the community.
Use that baby hotspot that the school gave them and fill that thing out.
Shoot that website out again for me.
Okay, it's 2020 Census, so 2020census.gov, and it's just very easy to use, and like I said, just takes a couple minutes.
No doubt. With the dates for voting, how is that going on now?
So early in-person voting was expanded by the General Assembly this year. And so that started yesterday and it will go through the end of October. So Saturday, the 31st is Halloween. So you can go and vote on Halloween and then go out trick-or-treating that night. There's no ID requirement. The General Assembly also this year expanded. If you don't have a photo ID, you don't have it with you, don't have one, you can bring other forms of identification with you. So like a utility bill or a pay stub, as long as it has your current address and your name on it.
So when you say no ID required, you still have to have like, not just like a driver's license, but a form of
yeah, who you are.
Okay.
But it doesn't have to be a driver's license. I know that's a barrier for some people.
But there's no way that people can do multiple voting.
No.
So once your name is in, it's
right.
crossed out.
Right. So once your name is in at the registrar that you have either requested absentee ballot or you voted in person early, then your name is marked off the list, and you can go to a precinct that's not yours. You can try to get an absentee ballot, but you will be rejected every single time. So there's no way. I mean, you can try to do it, but there's no way for that to happen. So don't vote twice, just vote once. Go early, ask for your absentee ballot through the mail, or go vote on November 3rd, which is Tuesday. You're going to have presidential election. You're going to have Senate. So the National Senate race is on the ballot, as well as the fourth congressional for Richmond, parts of Richmond, Chesterfield, Petersburg, Hopewell, and then you also have City Council as well. So make sure your voice is heard, make sure it's loud, and make sure you make a plan to vote.
Okay, before we get out of here, tell us about a special session.
Special session. So that is going on now. There's been a lot of work done previously. They are meeting, I think that the House is meeting virtually. The Senate is mostly meeting in person, just because of the size difference, I think, between the two groups. It was mainly a session that was called by the governor to deal with criminal justice reform, as well as so they were taking up some ballot voting initiatives. So in addition to going in person, you can drop off ballots in ballot boxes now too, which was approved through the special session. But then the other more important part of that is them taking these new initiatives and making sure that they fit within the state budget. So you have to have a balanced budget. Every state commonwealth does. And so they have passed up till now. So like I said, the session's still in progress. A lot of initiatives have passed the House. They've passed Senate committees, and they're waiting on full Senate votes. And once the full Senate votes on these initiatives, then they have to go through reconciliation. So the House writes their own versions of bills, and the Senate writes their own versions of bills. And if they don't match, they have to meet in reconciliation before a final vote on those final bills are done. Some of the things that have gotten to that point are banning no-knock warrants. And so there's some language differences between the two chambers that will have to be addressed. But essentially, the goal was to make sure that what happened to Breonna Taylor does not happen in Virginia here at all. And so I'm fairly confident that that's going to pass in some form or fashion. Progress is always something that continues to march on. The bills that are going to pass through the session can always be better, but I'm really glad that we have our legislators taken some of these things up. They have agreed that they need to increase training standards for police. Right now, we don't have like a statewide standard. Mm-hmm. And so different police departments can do different things and have trainings for their people. And that needs to be improved. So I think that that's going to pass through. Additionally, I don't really know how this wasn't a law to begin with, but they've agreed that police officers shouldn't be allowed to have sex with people in their custody. And so that has gotten a lot of bipartisan support. Some things that are in limbo: automatic expungement after 8 years of serving your time, and then other requirements, eligibility for parole. So they're trying to get some misdemeanors so that you're eligible for parole early compared to what's allowed now. And then civilian review boards, and I know that was a big one that a lot of people in Virginia were really interested in seeing. the House and Senate kind of are having some problems with a lot of different language on who should and who shouldn't be allowed to be under a civilian review board. I think the House version has police departments as well as sheriff's departments in their bills, and the Senate wants to have the sheriff's piece taken out because those are elected positions and they're already considered, accountable to people. And so I'm not really sure, how that language is going to be hammered out, but that's still on the table, although in limbo. Some of the really big things that have officially been killed, and I really don't see being taken up again this year, are the qualified immunity for police. And it kind of had some fits and starts in the House, but finally eventually did get passed after some clarification was given and some changes were made. The Senate is just straight up has killed it. They have referred it to commission to be evaluated. A lot of the concerns that I'm hearing from people are that it's going to cost a lot of money, which I think is true, but also, so what?
Yeah.
I mean, we, have an opportunity to hold police departments accountable in our communities. And this is one way to do that. And so, it is going to cost money, but we need to figure out how that can fit into our budget. And so I think that best case scenario, this is going to go to the commission over the next 6 months or so, and then potentially will be taken back up a regular session the start of 2021. So we'll see what happens with that, but write your senators, write your House of Delegate representatives, and make sure that your voice is being heard on that. One of the other things that was just killed recently was required paid leave for quarantine employees in private business. And so, the business community kind of saw that as a win because it was going to be a significant cost to them. A lot of the, pro workers groups really saw that as a huge negative because, if you can't feed your family after being exposed at a job potentially, then how are those trickle down effects going to happen in our communities? And so we'll just see what happens with that. Some kind of bright spots, I guess, that have been passed, still waiting on final votes, but the path to seeing it through is pretty clear. Is 12-month utility debt repayment plans. That was pushed by Jennifer McClellan, who's officially running for governor next year in Virginia. And so hopefully that'll alleviate some pain for families as that gets passed. The ballot drop boxes across the Commonwealth are another initiative just to allow people, if they don't have time to wait in lines at a registrar's office, then you can request your ballot by mail, fill out your ballot, sign it on the envelope, and then put it in one of these drop boxes, and you don't have to wait at all. So I think it's just gonna, allow greater access to voting. And then bill that passed both the House and the Senate is that police are prohibited from searching vehicles if they smell marijuana. And so if they say they smell marijuana. And so whether they smell it or not, it is no longer going to be okay for them to search vehicles if they say that they feel like that's present. And so I think, that's a huge piece added on to the marijuana decriminalization bill that already went into effect. I know Jennifer Carroll Floyd, who's also running for governor, has been a huge proponent of making sure, we continue to see that progress, as well as legalization, full legalization. And so, that full legalization piece has a huge impact to the budget in a positive way. And so, I think that especially if we end up going to a recession, which, is inevitable given the pandemic, the legislators are going to be looking at very unique ways to handle deficits, and that is one of them. So we'll see. I think that that's going to be a huge topic 2021 as the governor's race heats up, and we'll just see what happens. But there's a lot of good stuff happening, a lot of frustrating stuff happening in this special session. It's all representation, but make sure if there are pieces that I talked about that you're passionate about, make sure that your representatives know that you're passionate about them and how you want them to vote. They have their own personal preferences on bills, but their job is to represent you. And if their votes aren't doing that, you need to let them know, and then you need to vote them out. And, we have the opportunity to do that for some seats this year. We'll have the opportunity to do that again for House delegates next year. And then the Senate is 3 more years from now. So just get it done.
Our political correspondent, Lindsey Dougherty.
Happy to report.
Have her like every week, whether it be via Zoom, something like that.
Yeah. Election day, the job is actually giving us off election day, so there is no excuse. Amy, where are you going to be on election day?
I am going to be at the polls all day from 5 in the morning until 7 o'clock when they close. We'll be at the polls, and then after that, I'm going to do a watch party at my private residence because I want to be close to the bed, okay?
I was about to say, you're going to be up, man. Somebody bring my girl some food or something.
Know, right?
Monster Energy
she knows all the good places.
Clearly.
She'll DoorDash something.
Yeah.
I'm quite sure.
Right.
Although DoorDash, they may charge you an extra $500 to deliver, but that's another story.
Hey.
I have issues with that.
No. I love DoorDash because I can complain about the smallest thing about my order, and they be like, you know what? We'll just refund the whole thing. All they do is bitch about, man. You don't have to do that, but I appreciate it.
I think that DoorDash, I'm sorry, we're rambling right now. I think DoorDash should have a condiment section.
I do agree there because my sauces are often missing.
Yes.
And it's an issue. It's
Along with
upsetting
my
me and my
straws,
homeboys.
my napkins, all that stuff.
I got that stuff at the house. The condiment stuff.
Look, it's never too much.
I agree.
Never too much.
I agree. But when I order Wingstop, they got specific ranch that I can't find nowhere else. I need that
right.
ranch.
That's right.
That Aldi ranch in my refrigerator ain't gonna cut it.
Imagine Chick-fil-A.
Big bars is on point.
Hey,
though.
check this out, player. I need to get stock. And I put everybody on them. Don't eat Fig Newtons no more. Buy Fig bars from Aldi. They are better than Fig Newtons. They are delicious.
Change your life.
It will change your life.
Change your life. Stop forgetting, friends, Irrelevance in the Dungeon. This week, we want to thank Amy Wentz for stopping by. We want to thank our political correspondent for making her 3rd appearance, Lindsey Dougherty, for stopping by. I think it's my 4th. Is it your 4th?
I think it's my 4th.
Okay. Oh yeah,
because I did the Zoom.
Yeah, we had a one-on-one as well. Yeah. She's like I said, she's gonna get taken.
Yeah.
Shout outs, Kel.
Man, shout out these 2 ladies here. They're
Kel's the best.
I appreciate that. I am. But shout out to you both. Definitely shout out to Snuff. Definitely learned a lot today. That's always the best for me. You know how I feel about that. Teach me something.
No doubt. That's Lindsey. Any shout outs?
Shout outs to you for getting this done.
full-time job, overtime, and life. Appreciate Amy coming out. I know that life is crazy right now for you, but you won't regret it. It'll be awesome, and I really let me know if I can help.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Any shout outs for you, Amy?
Yes, shout out to the amazing people in the 8th District of Richmond, Virginia. You can get with this or you can get with that. I think because this is where it's at.
Oh, she gonna win, y'all. She gonna win.
Once again, I want to thank you all for appearing today. Very informative episode. I know you're going to win in November, so I just want to know where the party at.
Where the party at?
You know, let us know where the party at.
Drinks on Snuff?
Yeah, I'm having plenty of spring water. Before we get out of here, I want to thank everybody for last weekend Snuff Magee Friends Comedy Show. Mike J, Lazarus Hamlin, Michael Bam Bam White, DJ SRJ, Money Executives Entertainment. We had a ball out there, man.
We had a ball.
Shout out Liaison Restaurant for holding it down, letting us come through. We hope to do something with y'all real soon.
Especially eat, because I know we about to end, but can I just say, that food was amazing.
Kel was tearing the wings up, man. I was a little nervous with the show, being the first thing that Snuff Magee Friends doing. I didn't really eat too much, but the wings, I've had them before. I know it's like that. So once again, shout out everybody for showing up and showing out. Liaison, we appreciate it. Money Executives, Michael Bam Bam White, Mike J, Lazarus Hamlin, DJ Sarah J. We appreciate y'all, man. Very handsome, sexy host that was out there. His name is Snuff Magee.
He did a very, assistant principal.
Very, very great job. Because I'm Joe Clark. You know what I'm saying?
No, you was just like the assistant.
The assistant, Mr. John Dale, I'll flip the table over real quick. But nah. But once again, thank you, ladies, for coming out. We appreciate you all. Good luck to you, Amy. Lindsey, we're going to kidnap you. You'll be back real soon.
Anytime.
And just let us know where the party at. Once again, I am Snuff Magee, joined by.
You already know it's your boy Kel.
Lindsay.
Amy on mute, but that's Amy.
She's on mute. You know, we didn't held her up a little long today. But good luck to you. Once again, we out.
Peace.
Bye.
You've been listening to Snuff Magee and Friends. Irrelevance in the Dungeon.